This is a show about facing fear, unlocking courage, and taking action.
Courage isn't necessarily a daunting thing.
It's going to give you more purpose. It's going to give you more drive.
It feels like making a courageous decision is going to get you closer to who you aspire to be.
It's knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage.
People overthink things. They feel like they have to know all the answers and everything has to be perfect and pretty. And I've seen people spend millions of dollars before they even sell a product. I just tell people, just do it and start with your next door neighbor.
What does it actually feel for an entrepreneur in the messy middle? And that is what I love the most about our conversation today, because we got a live wire here, if you're asking me. You know, we're not looking, this is not a looking back story. We're actually still in the arena story. And I think that's where the gold is. And that's what the story is all about. It's not about the idea. It's not about the exit. It's the in-between. And that is the story of my guest today, Wynn Austin, who is a fellow San Diegan, has the coolest name. I mean, you got to love having Wynn for a name. I mean, that's got to be, it sets the bar pretty high, no?
Yeah, especially I'm an avid tennis player, so I love introducing myself to my opponents. My name's Wynn.
Well, are you a singles player or a doubles player?
I do both, but I am the team's designated singles player. So.
Okay. That's going to be a whole separate podcast that we'll have to talk about. Right? Today, we're talking about Wynn Austin and growing your brand, Wynn's Kitchen. San Diego-based food brand, creates clean, Asian-inspired sauces. And it really was rooted out of a pain that you were feeling, right? You were struggling for a healthier option, and curiosity got the best of you, and here we are, right?
Did. Yeah, it sure did. If you asked me 10 years ago where I saw myself 10 years later, it would never be here. But it's, I love curiosity. I've always been a curious person, and I love just working with my hands and trying new things. And so that led me down this crazy path of they call it CPG, consumer product goods, in the food arena, condiments specifically. Mm-hmm.
But again, for you, there was pain here, right? Like you actually made them for you first, or was it just the sugar got the best of you, gluten got the best of you? How did this even come about?
Yeah, you know what? Back in 2016, I just wasn't feeling well. It's not one of those things where you go to the doctor and they're like, "Oh, you've got, this disease." It wasn't like that. They just were like, "Well, everything looks normal." And I think that's the state of many people, where we can tell we're not feeling great. My blood pressure was definitely getting high. I exercised a lot, but I just wasn't feeling great until I started focusing on whole foods. I cut out sugar, soy, gluten, alcohol for 30 days. It's also known as like the Whole30 diet. That was my entrance to natural living and eating just real foods by looking at the labels. And a lot of the stuff we consume it's in the sauces. It's in the pre-packaged items and foods that we think we're eating healthy, but we're not. And so when I looked at all the Asian sauces I was eating in my refrigerator, my pantry, it's all chemicals. I'm like, where is the flavor even coming from? So I really had to make my own sauces, and Asian sauces are just riddled with sugar and chemicals and MSG and corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. So I really made this sauce for me, and I love sharing. So I shared on social media saying I'm on this whole food eating journey, and I miss Vietnamese food. I need to eat Asian food. And so I made this sauce because I couldn't find any I could buy.
I mean, I don't see, for being such a great share, I haven't seen any product show up at my house.
You said you were going to Seaside Market yesterday.
I know. This is true. You're giving away my secrets, Wynn. All right, folks. First of all, Wynn Kitchen, WYNNS kitchen.com. The packaging looks cool, looks beautiful. I can see it feels cleaner, right? You've got this saute Asian chili sauce, right? You've got this peanut sauce. There's a lemongrass. I mean, what a fun adventure. And you mentioned my favorite store on the planet, and I'll give them a plug in a minute. But in the grand scheme of things, you're officially in 300 stores in just Southern Cal?
Actually,
Just
the
air quoting?
300 stores is national. Our the majority of our like the chain stores in natural grocery stores is Southern California. But I've had so many retailers who are looking for these health attributes and cleaner Asian sauces find me online. So I'm actually nationally in a lot of like independent grocery stores.
I mean, you mentioned Seaside Market. It is one of the perks of all perks for us
Yes.
out here in San Diego,
Yes.
up here in North County. Big fan of everything they've got. I mean, you must have learned like so much from when you started to where you are now. Because like you were just messing around in your
Yes.
kitchen, and then suddenly here we are. So give us a little bit of when did you start messing around in your kitchen? When did you realize maybe I've got something here, and where are we today?
Well, when I created it in my kitchen, I was like, wow, this is so much better than the crappy stuff I was buying in a jar that had all these chemicals. And I started putting it on everything, on salmon, steak, vegetables, and so the first product was the satay chili sauce. I love spice. It's one of my favorite Vietnamese sauces. I just created it, and I love to cook. I love to experiment. So that's the easy part, right? Making something at your house for you and your friends to consume. But bringing it to market in a manufacturing setting having it cooked in a commercial kitchen in a hot kettle is a whole nother world. I had to learn to be a scientist because I had to learn about pH balance and how to keep it shelf life stable without adding those artificial preservatives. And that's the toughest part of all the sauces, because I'm not going to put everything on the line to bring another product on the market that's filled with preservatives.
Why I thought this episode was interesting was you're right in the middle of it,
Yeah.
right? There's some proof, but there's a lot of
Yes.
grind. Right? I
Yes.
think you said you started in 2019, right?
Right. End of 2019.
So we're 6.5, 7 in here.
Right.
What's harder now than when you started?
The expectations and the financials is harder now because as you grow, you go through growing pains and you need more money to buy more product up front. So I'm constantly on that cusp of, oh my gosh, I gotta sell. And then I get a couple big POs and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need more sauce like tomorrow. And so I'm calling my co-packer, like, how fast can we get the sauce? I have to fill this PO and paying for all that up front. So I'm on a constant cycle of, I got to sell, pay down, save that cash, pay down the bills enough to have the line of credit, enough on the line of credit so that when I need that other big order from the co-packer, that I have money to pay for it. So that is the hardest part, is the scaling and the growing part. And I tell people that I talk to today, take time on pushing the velocity and getting profitable on a smaller scale before you're trying to grow so far and so wide. And I've been conservative, but I would have had been even more conservative if I know what I know now.
Yeah, I was curious. What is your relationship with risk, and how has it changed as more people depend on you?
I think I've always been a risky person. I've always just go first and figure it out later. That's always been my personality. I just figure it out along the way. And with that, I do make mistakes, but at the same time, I feel that it's come in handy. Like it's served me well in one way or the other, through all of my careers. So I just been like, okay, I'm just gonna go all in, figure it out, find the resources, find the people, and just stay alive another day. So that's and and it's hard. It's hard. I fall a lot. And I think that's important for people to know. But I get back up and I keep on going. And it's like all that compound work that you do, you think, oh my gosh, it's going nowhere. The 10 emails, the 50th email to the same store, it's a no, no, no. And guess what? 6.5 years later, I finally got into Fraser Farms.
Well, it's just again, it's persistence
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
belief.
Yes.
I'm curious if we have this LinkedIn version of ourselves that we put out in the world, but the real version of Wynn, not Wynn Austin. Give
Mhm.
everyone like a little color on who you are, not the entrepreneur version, just like who Wynn is.
Uh, I work really hard, but I also like to play really hard. Like I told you, I always make time for tennis, always make time for my kids, my husband, and I'm a little, I can't, I wish I could be more organized. I'm definitely the flighty entrepreneur, but at the same time, when it's focus time, I do grind. Um, I do think that I really do a good job of putting my authentic self out there. And especially, I'm 45, I'm not in my 20s. So it's like, hey, if I don't feel like being on camera this week on Instagram or LinkedIn, I just don't. And I tell people like, listen, I'm a busy working mom like everybody else and I work hard, but sometimes I need a rest too. And that's something I didn't know in my 20s and 30s that I've learned that I have to allow myself to rest. So I think I'm feisty. My friends would say that I'm pretty feisty. But I'm fun. So
Well, I already know to avoid you on the tennis court. That is very, very, very clear. We'll be steering clear. If you did say pickleball, it is doubles. I might join you for that. I might be down for
Okay.
that. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll throw that out there.
Okay.
What if you drop me in your company? I'm curious. Let's say I was in for a week. What
Mm-hmm.
would surprise me?
Like working with me in my company. I think you'll be surprised that I still do yesterday I was in my garage blowing up little air bubbles, putting sauce in the jar, sticking the tape, every barcode on there from Amazon. I put that on and people think that there's magical elves doing all these things for me. And it's still me. And because of course I can hire someone, but that, it cuts into cost, right? Cuts into revenue, cash. And so I'm in that middle, like you said. It's like on the outside, it's like, oh wow, she's doing so great. She's on Forbes and I've definitely have hit milestones, but this is a marathon. It's the long game of building systems and brand awareness to the point where people are repurchasing and having it be a pantry staple. That's where I need to get and I want to get to. but it's the grind. So I think you'll be really surprised how much I do myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought why this was interesting was anyone that has a curiosity about starting their own business and what it actually takes to do it. And, I mean, I've had Courageous since 2019.
Yeah.
But it's
Wow.
not like I'm shipping a product to someone's house with Courageous. Now I have a sock company on the side called Sock Problems, where we're socking different problems in the world. And
Mhm.
what problem do you want to sock? Do you want to sock cancer? You want to sock extinction of animals? You want to sock
Mhm.
racism? And every sock has a charity partner associated with it. And
Mhm.
but I'll tell you, like, I'm grateful that the plumbing of the business is set up where I've got a 3PL and someone
Mhm.
orders the Shopify site. It's not me in my garage
Mhm.
packing up my stuff here.
Mhm.
Am I losing money right now in the business? Absolutely. Like if I'm
Yeah.
being honest, but the system's
Yeah.
in place. So
Right.
I feel you on like why you're rolling up your sleeves and it's about dollars and cents. Where's the line though? Like in your opinion, where do you think the line is? And by the way, this you can answer this as Wynn the entrepreneur, not Wynn's
Yeah.
Kitchen's
Yeah.
founder.
Yeah.
Where's the line on when it's time to be like, I got to find somebody to do this, and we're moving out of startup and I'm moving into scale up.
Right. So one thing that I am hyper focused on this year is going deep, right? I'm not interested in adding another distribution center. It's like I want to go deep with what I have, deep in the relationships, really saturate the stores that I'm in. And with that comes profitability. And so when that really gets rolling and I'm not like Seaside Market, I don't really even have to do demos there anymore. They were my very first store. I
It's a good
brought in
one.
my little
That's a good one.
jar. Yeah, I pitched to them and the buyer in the aisle. I had no idea how anything worked, and he's like, "Okay, I'm like, "What's your email?" and and he's like, "Okay, I'll have the team try it." And I, followed up in a week, and he's like, "Yeah, they like it, bring us a case." So I dropped off a case. I remembered I didn't even know where to go to drop it off. I didn't know you're supposed to print out an invoice. There's like all these little things. And I dropped it off, and then a week later I was out with my daughters, and I said, "Oh, let's go to this market." We walked in the aisle, and that we saw my sauce on the shelf for the very first time, because I was like,
So
I didn't
cool.
know if it was going to be there or not. But to this day, because I've invested so much time and I've been there since the beginning, they are my top store. They reorder all the time. I do cooking classes there. Once in a while, I'll pop in for a demo. But now when I do a demo, a lot of the customers are like, "Oh yeah, I buy your sauce all the time." They're like, "Oh my gosh, Wynn, it's you!" Like, and so it's so great that and that's my goal for every store or as many stores I can get to, where it's doing its thing on its own now. Like, I'm not physically there, but I get the text, "Hey, bring in, you know, uh, 6 cases of each sauce." I mean, I have like the whole Asian aisle. It's like I got a big set at Seaside Market. Yeah.
First of all, you should make that T-shirt. I'm Wynn. It's me with the thumbs pointing back at you. Like when you go in there, it's me. It's me. Yeah, it's Wynn. It's
Well,
me.
I have this little picture, and of course, it's like I had my glam, the glam girl, the professional photographer, and I'm there with pigtails and a hat, and they're like looking, they're like, "Is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me when I have my glam squad." But it's fun. I do love being out in the field, and you learn a lot when you're out there.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's stuff you hear right away that you're like, how agile am I? And the reality of it is you have to manage the funds that are coming in, and
Yeah.
what does the stress of money feel like at this stage for you?
Oh, it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. It's some days I'm like, there have been months where I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna move forward. I don't know how I'm gonna survive this month to continue. And so it's a huge stress and it's a lot of fear sometimes. But what I've been really practicing this year is to really overcome those fears and and just remind myself I have resources. I'm able to get credit lines. I'm able to move things around. And when I started really focusing on the accounts that I have, just being out there, doing the demos, marketing myself, we have all these free platforms and pitching PR on my own, that these are the things that are working. The cash is starting to come in without spending so much money. So I feel like I'm in a really good place now, but of course every time the product starts getting low, it's exciting, but it's like, oh boy, here comes the big let me see where all the accounts are at, because here comes the big bill for product.
Yep.
So it's that
Time to write that
inventory,
check. Yeah.
that balance of inventory, and you can't order like 200 jars. Everything's by the pallet now. So, but it's shocking to me, Ryan. I mean, I'm in it for 6.5 years, and still every time that big truck rolls out with 2-3 pallets, my mind's just blown. It's like, wow. I used to just do porch drop off.
I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but I've now somehow been an entrepreneur for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
I still have fear. I still worry about, like, where's the next keynote or the next change? We call it change mission. And then those times where I'll step back and remind myself, like, wait a minute, somehow for 22 years, I've been able to live in a beautiful place, not cheap place either. Let's call it what it is, right? We pay the weather tax here.
Yes,
and
we
somehow I've been able to stay here, live here, raise a family, raise the kids, and it does bring me calm. But the voice, it's the irony. I'm not sure if you're aware. I just co-authored a book about self-talk called Head of Mentals, right? Like fundamentals for your head. And we have a lot of self-talk. I talk about there's a monster in your mind, and that monster's trying to keep you small, and it's really good at what it does. And so I'm curious, what is the loudest voice in your head these days? And when does the monster show up next, or show up the most?
I think I work on battling that monster every single day. And I mentioned to you briefly before, but in 2019, I actually went through a divorce with 2 young kids, and right before the pandemic, I thought Wynn's Kitchen, my little side hustle hobby, is over. And I very quickly, I had a wedding planning business. I had a few weddings left. I was selling my house. I was moving, and luckily I found a nice place to live. I didn't even know what I could afford. I was like, okay, so I'm just flying blind, and got my real estate license in 1 month and just went for it. And I went to a farmer's market and also miraculously found a small co-packer that was like, hey, yeah, we'll work with you. We can make 200 jars for the first batch. And I'm like thinking, okay, I can do that. Like, let's see if this works. Let's see if I can sell these 200 jars. And just little by little, but those were dark days. And then the pandemic hit. It was a very difficult time, a lot of self-doubt. I was at the point working 3 jobs at one time. And so sometimes when I'm when I feel like, gosh, what am I doing? How is this going to work? I really think back and reflect on those moments I had where I didn't have any time to think negatively. I was on survival mode, and I was able to come back and make a good living for myself and live in this area and keep my kids in a nice home in the nice area. And I have to remind myself that all the time, like, I did it. I survived to the point so I can start thriving, and now I really work hard on not living in that survival mode and enjoy. Like, even if I'm doing like packing the Amazon boxes before, I'm like, oh, I hate it. It messes up my nail. It's like I'm in the garage. It's hot. And it's reframing. Like, I'm like, guess what? I have time to listen to a podcast, an audio book, and it's like my little time. I'm not pitching, or I don't have to talk to anyone. And it's like I reframe it to like my little Zen time. And I think that helps me, because I know, hey, if I need to keep Wynn's Kitchen going, I have the resources, I have the skills to get another job or a side job temporarily, or go back to real estate part-time in order for my personal to keep Wynn's Kitchen going. So, and I don't think that a lot of food companies do that. They just want to go all in to sell, and they spend every penny they make, and they don't want to do the hard work, and they're like, okay, we'll just file bankruptcy. And that's my worst fear. It brings me joy that people are using my products, they're using the sauces, and it brings them joy, and it makes a difference in their life and their household. So I feel like I'll do whatever it takes to go towards that mission, because I feel it.
And you can feel it. You can feel that you feel it. Let's say we were, and I'm gonna lengthen my question because I want to give you time to think about your answer.
Okay.
So let's say for a second that we're in a lecture hall, and you're teaching a course on entrepreneurship. Right. And it's not Wynn's Kitchen. It's all the primal lessons that you've learned. And you were just going to give me the 1, 2, 3 on, hey, you're about to start your entrepreneurial journey. Here are my 3 big lessons that you want me to take with me as I embark on the journey at hand.
I think the first one is just start. The famous Nike, just do it, just start. I mean, people overthink things. They feel like they have to know all the answers, and everything has to be perfect and pretty, and they have to have a whole team. And I've seen people spend millions of dollars before they even sell a product. Not even like one jar or one bag or whatever it is. And I just tell people, just do it, and start with your next door neighbor, right? Every sale matters, or every interaction that validates. Like, if you're selling a service, it's like, hey, if you have one person that finds your service valuable, learn from that one interaction. Because I mean, I went from a banker to a wedding planner to a real estate agent, and now a CPG founder, and I didn't know how to do any of those things. I just find way to be resourceful and do what you love, because if you love and you're truly interested and motivated, you will find people that can help you and help you figure things out. I think that's the biggest thing. And when I talk to people, I think that's what holds them back. They want perfection. They want everything to be perfect, and for them to know all the answers before they really take that first baby step.
All right. So number 1's just start. What else you got? What's 2 and 3?
Ooh, tame the monster. your self-doubt will creep in. I think this is for everyone, especially if you're starting a business as an adult and you have a family and you have kids and there are nights that I cry. I cry a lot. I'm like, what am I doing? And it will creep in, and you just have to hit that reset button and keep on going. Until if
I
it
like it.
really doesn't make sense. But if you believe in it, just keep on going. Find a way to keep on going and push through that fear.
That the monster's so good at telling you all about.
For everyone. I mean, you can talk to the most success, you can talk to, I'm sure, even like Bill Gates or, everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone has their self-doubt or their insecurity. So just know that you're not the only one, and that it's always going to be there. You don't have to believe it. And you have to, you have to work on it every day. Like I tell people, I work on positive self-talk every single day. It's like, you see me driving, I might be talking to myself in the car like a lunatic, but right? It's like, I tell people like, yeah, my 40s, I just learned to talk to myself a lot.
When I have a book for you, you know that, right? I'm sending you a copy of
Yes.
Head of Mentals, and you can tell me what you think. But all right, so we've
Okay.
got 1 is Just Start, 2 is Tame the Monster. What's number 3?
Build a community. I say build a community. People underestimate how valuable communities are and the impact of what a community can do. And I know with today's online world, everything's online, but I'm a huge believer of human connections. I love to talk to strangers. I love to I love to meet new people, and it's fun. Like once you start talking to people, your world gets smaller and smaller. It's like, oh my gosh, you went here, I know them, you know them, and I think that's like one of the most that's like the funnest things. It's like I'm out there, I meet people, then it's like, oh my gosh, you know that person? I do too. And then you make these connections along the way, and you build these communities outside of where you live.
These are great, and we'll come back to these maybe near the end of the episode. But I'm fascinated to learn, has your definition of success changed since day one?
Definitely. Definitely. And especially growing up, right? I don't know if you read my article, but as an immigrant, I was kind of raised to learn like your success is what you achieve, what you can buy, what kind of job you have, the titles, uh, amount of money you make. And for me, especially after my divorce, it's really changed. And when I was first starting Wynn's Kitchen, it was just so pure. It was just out of love, and I just enjoyed it. Then I'm like, crap, how am I going to make money doing this? And, all this stuff. But at the same time, no matter what happens, I feel that it was a success. I know it's going to go well. It's taking a heck of a lot longer than I thought it would. You hear these unicorn stories like Primal Foods. Oh, he built it 3 years. He sells it for 50 million or something like that. I'm like, oh, cool. And it hasn't happened yet, but I still feel successful. I'm really proud of what I've done, and it makes me happy knowing that there are people, I made a difference in people's lives. And I think that is success. But of course we do need to pay our bills and survive too. So I really hope that I can continue doing this and growing it, and eventually make be able to make a good living off of it.
Is there a bet you're making over the next 6 months or 12 months? Is there something that you've got locked in that this is coming and I'm a little nervous, but we're doing it?
No, no. I think I've spent the first 6 years doing a lot of that. Like, oh, I got to get distribution. I got to get that distribution. I really want to get into the store, and I got to get to this number of stores. So I think my next step is, I mentioned I'm working on a cookbook. That's probably the biggest project coming up that I'm scared and excited about. But that's my next thing. And it's going to, because people always ask like, oh, I need ideas on how to use your sauce, or I love Vietnamese food, but I'm too intimidated to make it at home. So that's my next passion project, and that it's very scary. It's just scary.
But I love that you sat here and actually looked at me with a straight face and said, no, there's no big bets over the next 6 to 12 months, except for a cookbook with recipes. I mean, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you're in the publishing business now. I mean, who's selling this book? Where can people find this book?
It's not out yet. I'm still working on it, but I've committed to really focusing on it this year. I feel like I've been just running around and doing so many other things, but this year I'm making good headway on it. It's tough. It's time consuming, but that's my next big project that, I'm working on.
It's a great idea, and it sure sounds like courage to me. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it does not sound like, well, I did all my testing and I've got my packaging and my distribution. No, it feels like the next brave thing. I am curious if I do say, where do you need courage the most right now? And you could choose in any facet of life or business, what would your answer be?
I do. Wow, it's a tough one. I think the courage to just keep going. Just keep going. Right? We think, oh, we got here, we were scared, and now it's good, but it's the courage to keep making it work and keep growing. And I feel like I thinking of all these creative ways to market myself. Like, I have my own podcasts where I interview other entrepreneurs. I do a couple podcasts with solo episodes, and I'm not like super comfortable doing all those things. I force myself to utilize what I have and within my financial means to market myself. But I think the courage to really just keep going and believe that there's going to be a tipping point where it will start scaling on its own, where I will get to that big goal, another milestone of like that $1 million, in revenue. And I know the next biggest courage that I need is getting back to raising capital. I have to say that's my biggest weakness in this field. That's the thing I'm most uncomfortable with, don't enjoy the most, and it terrifies me.
Well, that's what John Hartman's for. Which, of course, shout out to John because he introduced us.
Yes.
Now we'll know if John listened to the whole episode.
Right.
We're
Right.
gonna know.
Right.
But that, John, is how I found you, and what a great story. And let's say I asked you to jump into my DeLorean here and flex capacitor, and we have a time machine, and we're going back to the future. We're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go a year into the future. So it's now, we'll call it April of 27.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm bringing you back on the pod. What do you hope we're celebrating?
I hope we're celebrating the cookbook and you have a copy in your hand.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. And I also can't wait to have my Wynn kitchen. I'm gonna have you come to the house, and we're throwing a party, and let's do it.
Oh
Let's see what
yeah, let's
happens.
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, awesome. That's again, Wynn. What a journey. Keep doing what you're doing. Again, I take us back to the lecture. The It's almost an unfair question to expect that you are gonna drop profound wisdom, but yet what I walk away with are three really unique truths about just start. And in our world, we always talk about the three levers of courage, of knowledge, faith, and action. And knowledge and faith without action is paralysis.
Uh-huh.
And usually when you take action, more knowledge presents itself and you learn
Right.
more stuff when you just start. Two, tame the monster. Like, again, our monsters are very good at keeping us small and calling out all these crazy things. The things we say to ourselves, we would never say to another human. It's like,
Absolutely.
what did you just say to yourself about yourself? And so it's doing everything in its power. I mean, it's actually as odd as this may sound, it's actually a very sweet mechanism. It's just crass on how it goes and does what it does. If you really think about it, although it's talking smack to you or it's making you feel small, it's actually just, it doesn't want to threaten your very own nervous system. It's just trying to keep you safe. But usually we're not thinking that. Usually we're actually listening to what the monster is saying to us, why you're not qualified to do this or why this will fail. And then when you fail, you're going to have to move. And then if you're going to move, you're going to run out of money. And then there's shame. It's like, wait a minute, what just happened here? What just happened in my own brain? Right. So taming the monster, gosh, about 100 episodes now. I had Seth Godin on, and he said, you actually want to give fear gratitude. You want to balloon it and thank it. And it makes it less scary. And in some ways, that's what this is too. There's lots of ways to tame the monster. Just telling your monster, hey, man, thanks. Thanks for trying to keep me safe. That's awesome. So we've got just start, we've got tame the monster, and then, hey, do everything in your power to build community. And boy, do I need to hear that right now, because there are times where I feel like I'm not just starting on the courageous community. I mean, I feel like I bring this community together through action chats, which happens during the pandemic. We really brought the community together, but I want to be better about bringing community together. And sometimes my own monster gets in the way.
Right.
Because I think people are too busy, or what if nobody shows up? Then I must not be relevant. These are the things that I tell myself when really, as we've already talked about, it's hard to be you. It's hard to be somebody climbing the corporate ladder, trying to figure out how they're gonna get the next promotion or just be seen. Right? It's very lonely. The higher up you get in organizations, the more alone you feel. I actually have Carlos Abrams Rivera, who is the CEO of Kraft Heinz, coming on. I'll let him know about your brand. Don't worry, I'll let him know. But talk about feeling alone. I mean, he's in the top seat. Who knows who was telling him what he wanted to hear versus the real. And so the concept of a true community where people are genuine and sharing and connecting, it's a very lonely world. So I love these three: just start, taming the monster, get through that self-doubt, build that community, find that human connection. And Wynn, I'm so glad we had a chance to jam and meet. So glad your product is in my favorite store, Seaside Market.
Yay.
But again, 300 stores nationwide, winskitchen.com. That's WYNNS kitchen.com. All right, entrepreneur, what do you want to leave everybody with? What's your parting words?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, Ryan. I really appreciate you getting this on so quickly. And I just love meeting you and getting to know you, and a lot of your, from what I've seen on your website, and I'll get your book, and I'll be on a on a road trip to LA for work the Saturdays, I'll be listening to your other podcasts. But I just feel like we're really aligned in our mission, and I love it. I really enjoy meeting other people that that are out there to help others improve and others reframe, their mindset to help them with whatever it is they're going through. So thank you for having me. Mhm.
Easy decision. And I can't wait to have your cookbook in my hand in a year, and we'll have you back on the show. Deal?
Deal.
All right, cool. Thanks, Wynn.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Courageous Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so more people can find us. See you again next week.